The congratulations felt hollow, another text, another phone call, another social media message buzzing with forced enthusiasm. I was engaged, supposed to be floating on cloud nine, but all I felt was a dull ache in my chest, a familiar weight settling in my stomach. A few weeks ago, I asked Sarah to marry me, and she said yes. It should have been pure joy, a moment of unadulterated happiness. But the news had inevitably reached my mother, Carol, and the fallout was, well, predictable. It always was. My mom had me, Mark 27, and my sister, Lisa, 29. With our dad, Tom. He died when I was 10, Lisa was 12, a car accident, sudden and brutal. Life changed in an instant, the bright colors fading into a muted gray. I remember the funeral, the sea of faces, the stifling black suits. But mostly, I remember the silence that followed, the gaping hole in our lives that nothing seemed to fill. Then, when I was 15, Mom got remarried. Her husband is Frank. Fake name because the real one is even less flattering, and, frankly, he doesn't deserve even a fake name. From the very start, Lisa and I had issues with Frank. Big ones, small ones, a constant barrage of friction, like trying to force two mismatched puzzle pieces together. The two big issues were monstrous, defining my relationship with my mom, and shaping who I am today. He insisted that nobody mention Dad in his presence. Didn't matter who we were with or where we were, it was not allowed. It was like Dad never existed, erased from the family narrative the moment Frank walked in. The man who taught me to ride my bike, who read me bedtime stories, who cheered me on at Little League games, reduced to a taboo subject. This included the times he tagged along when we went to see anyone from Dad's side of the family, the O'Connells. He would invite himself, a possessive act masking deep insecurity, and then enforce this rule, or he'd make us leave. Mom let this happen, watched it happen, enabled it to happen. Even on Dad's anniversary or birthday, we couldn't talk about him if Frank was around, and that included asking Mom if she wanted to come to the grave with us. We'd sneak off on our own, Lisa and I, leaving flowers and sharing memories in hushed tones like we were conducting a clandestine operation. The guilt gnawed at me, the feeling that we were betraying Dad's memory by hiding it away. Frank actually yelled at Lisa during her graduation dinner because she had mentioned Dad in her speech, her graduation dinner. For what? A simple, I wish Dad could be here to see this, a genuine, heartfelt sentiment, twisted into a personal insult by Frank's inflated ego. He turned what should have been a celebration into a scene, all because of his fragile ego. I remember the look on Lisa's face, the hurt, the anger, the utter disbelief. It was then that I knew, without a doubt, that Frank was not someone I could ever respect, let alone love. He inserted himself deeply into the relationship with our Dad's side of the family. We could visit anyone on Mom's side without issue. He didn't even care if we said anything to him, but the second it was someone from Dad's side and he found out we only mentioned it to Mom, he would scold us and insist we needed to ask his permission to see them. Then he'd tag along frequently and invite himself to see them too. The O'Connells, my dad's family, they were warm, loving people, a constant source of comfort after Dad died, a connection to the man we had lost. But Frank, he saw them as a threat, as a reminder of a life he wasn't a part of, a history he couldn't rewrite. He was possessive of Mom, possessive of us, wanting to control every aspect of our lives, to be the center of attention, the alpha male. It felt like he was trying to erase Dad's legacy, to replace him in our hearts. This went for a lot of stuff. Mom had already stopped coming with us before she even met Frank, claiming it was too painful, but he insisted on being there. And if Lisa or I said we didn't want him to come, then he told us we couldn't go. If whoever we went to see didn't want Frank inside the house, he'd say then we weren't allowed inside either. It was a power play, a blatant display of dominance. Once Lisa moved out, he was pissed that she spent more time with Dad's side, and he tried to tell her what to do still. She was having none of it. That was when she truly broke free, when she realized she didn't need Mom's permission to live her own life, to honor her own memories. I admired her strength, her unwavering resolve. Lisa and I talked to Mom about all our issues with Frank, countless conversations, tearful pleas, desperate attempts to make her see what he was doing. We told her we didn't want a relationship with him, that he was hurting us, that he was disrespecting Dad's memory. She always told us we needed to have one with him, to have one with her. It was an ultimatum, a blatant disregard for our feelings, a validation of Frank's controlling behavior. It felt like she was choosing him over us, trading our happiness for her own. We took her at her word, and Lisa stopped talking to her, and once I moved out, so did I. We stopped going to see her or spending holidays with her, and Frank, we didn't invite her over or initiate any contact. The silence was deafening, a constant reminder of her choice, a void that ached with loneliness and regret. She brought it up a few times, how we were bad at maintaining the relationship, and we told her we weren't. We just weren't maintaining it, but she ignored us. She tried to come and see us a few times. We told her no, Frank, so she never came. It felt like a test, a challenge to our resolve. We let her birthday pass without any acknowledgement, and when she'd tell us about Frank's birthdays, we'd work to forget the date. Petty? Maybe, but it was the only way we could cope, the only way we could protect ourselves from his toxic influence, to preserve the memories of Dad that he so desperately wanted to erase. A few weeks ago, I got engaged. I didn't tell my mom or ask anyone else to, but the news got to her through the grapevine, a whispered secret carried on the wind. She was upset she didn't hear it from me, wounded that I hadn't included her in this momentous occasion. She was also upset I said no to her throwing an engagement party for us. She had visions of a lavish celebration, a chance to play the doting mother, but I couldn't bear the thought of Frank being there, casting a shadow over our happiness. She never even met my fiancée, Sarah, which was something else that upset her. She couldn't understand why I kept my life so separate. She asked how she's supposed to meet her for the first time at the wedding, and I told her she's not supposed to. I said she won't be invited. My mom did not expect that at all, and she asked me why, her voice laced with disbelief and indignation. Because Frank is not welcome, I said, the words cold and precise, a shield against the guilt she was trying to inflict. She made it perfectly clear she won't come without him, her own ultimatum hanging in the air. I reminded her that she said we can't have a relationship with her if we won't have one with Frank, and I told her it would be over my dead body that I have a relationship with him. My mom said we were supposed to love her enough to accept Frank, and I told her I do not have to have a relationship with the man who would kick up a fuss over my dad being mentioned in his presence and who tried to control the relationship I had with my family. It was like she still didn't get it, like she still didn't understand the depth of our resentment, the years of pain and betrayal that had built up between us. I reminded her Dad is still my dad, and I'd find a way to incorporate his memory into the wedding, to honor him in a way that felt authentic and meaningful. I asked her if Frank would tolerate that, or if he'd start yelling like at Lisa's graduation. The thought of him ruining my wedding, of him disrespecting Dad's memory on such a special day, filled me with a rage I could barely contain, a protectiveness that burned like a fire in my soul. She told me she doesn't want to lose both her kids, and she loves us. Her voice was cracking, the years of denial and guilt finally bubbling to the surface. I told her we love her, but we're not willing to accept that man she calls a husband. The line had been drawn, the cards laid out on the table. There was no compromise, no room for negotiation. It was her choice, and she had to live with the consequences. Then she told me I was being so unfair, and when she said what she did, we could have talked about it more. That reminding her like this wasn't right. It was like she wanted me to erase the past, to pretend that none of this had ever happened. I said this was the consequences of her actions. I told her I could live with the consequences of not accepting Frank, that I can sleep fine at night knowing our relationship is what it is, even if it's broken and fractured, and it isn't my problem if she can't do the same. The guilt she was trying to inflict, the years of manipulation, none of it worked anymore. I had built walls around my heart, and she couldn't penetrate them anymore. Now she's upset and angry, and apparently I'm the bad guy in her eyes. The calls keep coming, the texts piling up, accusations, pleas, guilt trips, everything she can throw at me. Lisa is getting the same treatment, fielding her own barrage of emotional attacks. It's exhausting, draining, but we're holding firm. But honestly, beneath the anger and the resentment, there's a profound sadness. I miss my mom. I wish things were different. I wish Dad was here, but I will not compromise my own happiness, my own values to appease her. Dad deserves to be remembered, honored, celebrated. Frank deserves to be forgotten, erased from our lives. Sarah deserves a wedding free of drama and disrespect, a day filled with love and joy, not overshadowed by the ghosts of the past. Maybe to my mom, Maybe to those who believe in family first, no matter the cost. But to myself, to Lisa, and to the memory of Dad, I know I'm doing the right thing. I have to. And now it's your turn. Have you ever had to make a similar choice, prioritizing your own well-being over family expectations? Have you ever had to draw a hard line, even if it meant sacrificing a relationship with someone you loved? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's talk about the complexities of blended families, toxic relationships, and the importance of honoring those we've lost. And if you're grappling with similar family dynamics, or simply interested in learning how to navigate toxic relationships, be sure to watch the latest video. It dives into powerful strategies for setting boundaries, protecting your mental health, and creating a life rooted in love and support, even when that doesn't come from family. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss new content. Let's build a community of healing and support. Join the conversation.